Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining the U.S. Black Chambers. Our webinar today is always pivoting, and we're so excited to bring you a really exciting guest. As always, please know that any information that you need relative to the CARES Act, you can find on our site. My name is Elisa Joseph, and I'm Vice President, Director of Programs for the USBC. And you can always find whatever you need relative to the CARES Act at usblackchambers.org/cares-act/. Again, we're really excited today. I've got a real great treat for all of you. Just a renowned businessman, entertainer, writer, two-time Emmy winner. And I'm so thankful that he was able to join us today to really share his wisdom, his experience with all of you. Rushion McDonald has a degree in mathematics. He's a two-time Emmy Award-winning, three-time NAACP Image Award-winning television executive producer. His marketing and branding skills built a career of Steve Harvey and currently manages Stephen A. Smith. Rushion is a Reggie Award winner for local, regional market marketing for the Air National Guard. He was the Chief Marketing Officer for all of the Air National Guard's recruitment and retention campaigns. He has also produced national campaigns for State Farm, Ford, JCPenney, General Mills, iHeartRadio, Radio 1, ABC, ET, and ABC. Rushion has written and produced for Kevin Hart, Taraji P. Henson, Monique, Gabrielle Union, Thea and Tamara Mowry, and Jamie Foxx. And whenever you watch some of the shows, let's go to the credits. I love watching his name come up. He hosts the popular Money Making Conversations podcast. Rushion provides consumer and business owner access to celebrities, CEOs, entrepreneurs, and industry decision makers. They in turn deliver information about career planning, motivation, financial literacy, how they lead a balanced life. Join me, everyone, with welcoming Rushion McDonald. Rushion, I'm so thrilled to have you today.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
Great. And we're going to pop up on the screen in a minute.
Have I popped up yet?
You are there, and I am here as well.
Good. Thank you.
Good to see you, my friend.
Well, technology is part of our lifestyle now. In the past, we'd be somewhere in some building, brick and mortar, trying to walk in and get on stage and set up microphones, but it's all in our home now. I found a nice place in my house to do my interviews, and I'm happy to be a part of this opportunity to just give out information.
Well, I so appreciate you doing this for us. We, since the beginning of this pandemic, have really spent time educating our business owners and really trying to make sure that they are able to do what it is that they do best. That is provide service in the community, be able to drive revenue for their companies and hire employees. And so, as you know, I'm sure you know full well how difficult it's been since March. And I really would love to know, you are known for reinvention.
Right.
And I know that you must have had some business disruption yourself. So prior to the pandemic, let's give everybody a little bit of background about who you are, what you're doing now, and then we're going to move forward in this conversation.
Well, great. My name is Rushion McDonald, as you eloquently stated. I have done a lot of things in the past that I'm proud of, but it's what you do in the future, what you're currently doing is what defines your opportunity. Prior to the pandemic, I was in fact organizing my brand. I was defining my voice. I launched a platform called moneymakingconversations.com in 2017. It proved to be very successful, but I also stopped managing Steve Harvey in 2016. And my entire brand was wrapped up into what I had accomplished with Steve Harvey. So one people say you're very successful, but I didn't technically have a defined voice. I was doing a lot of things, but if you would Google my name, his name would pop up immediately when my name popped up. And so in 2020, I decided to make sure that I defined who I was. And any business person will know, if you go into Chick-fil-A and you really don't know they do chicken sandwiches, you might go in there asking for a burger. And so that was what I was doing right now. I wanted people, when they came to Rushion McDonald, they knew exactly what I was going to talk about, what I was going to present to them, and the opportunities that they could be successful, whether you was an individual, whether you was a talent or a corporate leader or a business, what I could do for them. That was what I was doing the first quarter. Right in the middle of all this, I was meeting face-to-face with my staff. I had a lot of calls. There were never Zoom calls. They were tied up to the situation. But when the pandemic hit, my number one concern was the safety of my employees and my safety, because I was really, I wouldn't say scared, but I really was worried about how I would go about living my daily life. I remember one time in particular, because I live in Atlanta, my headquarters is in Atlanta, but I also live in Houston, Texas. I have a home there. And I went to Home Depot. I had a pair of gloves. I had hand sanitizer. I had Lysol with me, and I had a mask. And so I didn't know what order to use that. I didn't know when I touched the product, did I hit it with some Lysol? So now I'm a lot more comfortable in how I go out in public. I have a plan that works for me. But when I had a sniffle or a cough or a cold, I didn't know if that was the early stages of COVID-19 starting to be introduced into my early stages of a virus. So really, the early part of my life this year was overcoming the fear of getting COVID-19. And that was tied to the fact that I was watching Don Lemon on CNN. He hosts CNN Tonight. And he was interviewing a guest from the Atlanta area. And she said that 8 out of the 10 hospital patients, this is in the very early stages of COVID-19, 8 out of 10 hospital patients who were in for COVID-19 were African Americans. That's like 80%. That actually stunned me and on a path of information that I had to educate myself. And ever since then, I've been using my platform to educate African American communities as well as communities in general about COVID-19, how to get your money, how to keep your money, and more importantly, how to stay healthy.
Well, I think all of us can sympathize with you in that. I know I had similar fears going in. Right now, I'm really clear about just doing one thing at a time. So I still don't multitask when I'm going out, just to be safe. But yeah, I think we all totally understand that. And so the pandemic hits, you're telling us now, and we know right now that Atlanta is a hotbed. And continues to be. I know the rates continue to rise.
Yes.
But you've got to shift into a new reality, right? And so one of the things that we've seen is that our Black businesses in particular were really hard hit at the beginning of this. 40% of them literally went out of business.
Right.
Number has changed and shifted a little bit, with about 26% of them being able to be up and running of that 40. Since the pandemic, but we're still in a crisis state where there could be 50% of our businesses that never recover.
Right.
I want to talk a little bit about overall entrepreneurship and businesses, but I want to spend a little bit of time because you have this expertise in talking about the entertainment industry in particular. We know that artists, creatives, producers, agencies, marketers, event planners, social influencers, promoters, all of those folks that have some tentacles into an industry have really been severely impacted. So in your travels, what have you been counseling people? What have you been saying?
Well, some things I can only do is tell you the truth. I know I've actually turned down television interviews because I can't fudge the reality that there is a problem out there. If you're a stand-up comedian or a singer and your income is tied to live events in the earlier stages, then you are not going to make any money. And so I asked them to pivot to the opportunities that the government was offering you under the CARES Act. Like that $600 weekly check was invaluable, which turned out the full payment of it was $10,200. And certain people even if you applied for it late, it would backdate you. So it made sure you got the entire $10,200, even though it came out and you may have applied in April or May, it always backdated you. And so it also filing for unemployment. I was just letting people know pride needs to be removed from this conversation. You have to realize that you're in an environment that you can't control anymore. And so if you're tied to any live events, then you had to apply for unemployment benefits. You had to apply for the CARES Act where they gave you $600 a week. Also, if you had a child and you could take 10 weeks off and they would pay you additional revenue over that up to $200 a day. And or if you called in sick and said you had COVID-19 issues within your family, you can get that for 2 weeks, and that was $500 a day. A lot of people didn't know about these things, and I was set on a mission to educate people, and we all know that the last people to know are the people of color, especially Black people.
And so for business owners who are struggling through that, who may not have the option of being able to file for unemployment
Right.
or some other things, what are some of the things that you're talking to people now about? I'm really focused on people being able to, we call this always pivoting for a reason, because I
Right.
have an expert who pivots all the time.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
how are you telling businesses, what are some advice that you're giving businesses to do? What instruction are you giving them that they're able to operate in this new reality?
Well, technology is the way to go. And it really is, that's where I've been focused the last 2 months is really looking at SEOs, which is search engine optimization for Google and for all you got to really understand that. You just take this time to educate yourself on how you can promote yourself through the digital platforms, or how you can promote yourself through the social media platforms. Because the blessing in all this is that typically, you can't do anything if you're in the barber and beauty salon business. That is a business that you have to have a customer sitting in front of you in order to execute the jobs. But there are a lot of businesses, especially in the restaurant industry, especially out there in the technology business, where online has been a savior. I have a nephew in Houston, Texas, and he always had DoorDash, Google Eats. And so when the pandemic hit, it really didn't affect him that much because of the fact that he was already ready to handle the online industry of saying, come up and pick your meal and go. Where a lot of Black businesses, especially in the restaurant community, were still tied to that come in, sit down and eat philosophy, and were not prepared for the to-go philosophy that now dominates and will not end. I just want everybody to know on the call is that if they find a vaccine, it's probably going to be 40 to 50% when they put it out there, because nothing will ever be 100%. So COVID-19, just like the flu vaccine, is not 100%. It's roughly 40 to 50%. That's why if you take the flu vaccine, you still can get the flu. And so when they release a COVID-19 vaccine, it is going to take care of some people, but COVID-19, it will be with us for the rest of our lives. It is not going anywhere. So when I talk about the lifestyle of high-fiving and hugging and hey girl, hey boo, and dapping and bringing somebody in close, that lifestyle is over with. We will not live that lifestyle ever. Washing your hands for 20 seconds is the way of life. So when my original office in 2020 was in a Spaces environment, I was very happy there. Even though it was a community environment, I loved being able to walk into the lobby area and talk to people. When COVID hit, I couldn't have that environment. I immediately had to close my lease out of there. And now I'm in the process of purchasing a building, which I can control the COVID environment a lot better. I'm the only person in there. My staff is the only people in there. I'm not saying everybody can buy a building, and I'm not recommending that everybody buys a building. But when you do business in the future, you have to put your employees in a position where they feel comfortable coming to work. They feel safe, because COVID-19 is not going to go away. We know it overtly affects African Americans and our people of color on a higher rate than anybody else. And that's one of the reasons why this country, especially the White House, has a general tendency to not really care about COVID-19, because they know who it really impacts. They just won't say it. That's why he comes out there and says, hey, everything's good, because he knows that it's not affecting the majority and it's not affecting his voter base, even though it does affect it, but not as it is affecting people of color. And so with that being said, that's what I had to do. I had to shift the dynamics of how I treated my employees, the work environment, and also the fact that even when I come back full time, I will still stagger days that they will come in and days they will do Zoom work. I will never, ever have a 5-day-a-week, 40-hour employee sitting in my office moving forward. That can't happen anymore.
Yeah, those are really great points. I do want to share with everyone who's watching. Please feel free to submit your questions in the chat. We're going to pull up a couple of them before we close. So I want to make sure that you all know you have that opportunity since we are live today.
I just want to add this one thing. Technology is so important, Elisa, that, we're talking on Zoom right now. Like I said earlier, I jokingly said that we would have done this previously, but this wave of technology is where the communities of color and the Black community have always fallen back, even though we're the biggest purchasers of Android phones. You're seeing what they're doing to our kids. The fact that, we're worried about Wi-Fi, and we have to realize that those phones that you purchase for your child or you have are really their school books now. And so we have to realize that that phone is now a tentacle. We have to figure out how to do, it's a banking app called Mochify, where you can bank online. You can actually use your monthly rent payments to now improve your credit scores. We have to realize that it's a valued need to have a clear understanding of technology, and we have to accept it. And it has not to be, it's not limited to a certain age. People tend to go, well, I'm too old for that. That's for young folks. No, technology is for everybody, and we have to accept that fact, or we will lose.
Mm-hmm. No, I agree. And we'll share at the end of this too, some tools that we've been able to pull together with some of our sponsors
Right.
that's available to help folks.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that's been really interesting to me has been this technology conversation,
Right.
The idea of understanding, particularly if you need to borrow money.
Right.
So one of the hazards we had initially, PPP did not serve all of us. Only 10,000 Black businesses got PPP loans. The SBA does have their EIDL loans out now. And now that that period has closed, banks will get back into business of regular lending. But even in that, they still have the mindset of what they had a year ago, right? And
Right.
Fortunately, how you did business a year ago doesn't matter anymore, right? Because
Right.
everything has changed.
Mm-hmm.
So you're a storyteller.
Right.
One of the things that I always advise, my clients to do is to be able to tell your story,
Right.
able to tell people how you make money, able to tell them how your operation is moving forward, if you're looking to grow, what that's going to look like, and also know your numbers. What are some, in terms of the idea of storytelling, pitch telling, for lack of a better descriptor, what are the things that you recommend that people do?
Well, first of all, you have to look at what do you have as far as equity? Whether it's your home, your cars, your insurance packages, all these are involved. But more importantly, what is your credit score? We all got to go back to the basic. What is your credit score? And so that is the number one thing that I hang my hat on. Ever since I've been 18, I've been concerned about my credit score. I was happy when I got my first Montgomery Ward's credit card. Then I got my Sears credit card. And Sears back in the day was just like getting an American Express green card. It was just that powerful. And so today, when you look at everything that's laid out there, you have to not only tell what you did, because they really don't care about what you've done in the past. It helps. You have to project how you're going to make money in the future. So you have to line up agreements, get people to say they're going to do business with you. And you really have to be able to do what you should have done all along, be able to forecast your future income, something we've avoided as businesses. We just open a business and we just stop. But now they're forcing you to forecast what you're going to do in the fourth quarter, what you're going to do financially in the first quarter of 2021. And that is a great thing because it forces you to sit back and make sure that you have a clear understanding of where your income is going to come from. So that's the big change. And I think it's a good thing because it forces us all to commit to putting down a realistic budget, looking at our staff, and having people around us who are doing a job to make you successful instead of just being around because you're too lazy to fire that person or lay that person off. You have to make hard decisions now. And you have to make those decisions tied on what people can do for you. When I say people, your employees can do for you and what you're willing to do for yourself. So what the banking industry is forcing us to do, and I myself, is to tell them, where is my income coming from this quarter and where is my income coming from in the first quarter of 2021. With that in mind, it has taught me a different model on how I should build my business model. And it should have always been that way. But we tend to get loans and we just work day to day, month to month, grinding. You hear that word a lot. I just grind. In the business world, grinding means nothing to them. They want to know what you're making, why you quote unquote are grinding. So it's all based on future income.
So one of the things I do want you to talk about is money-making conversations. Because, these are the kinds of tips and ideas and thoughts, particularly from a leadership perspective, that we want our business owners to have. And you have, a show where you focus on this and you bring in top CEOs, you bring in celebrities, you bring in regular entrepreneurs that
Right.
really talk about how their, how their success is driven, things that they focus on, how they move forward. Can you talk a little bit about that and share that with
Okay,
us?
thank you. My platform is called moneymakingconversation.com. I interview everybody. It started in 2017, and it was also started in 2014 when I was still managing Steve Harvey. Every week I go online with my Facebook and I take questions and respond back to them. And it was supposed to be for an hour because I would go back and forth. It would line up being 3 hours. I would spend online talking to people. When I stopped managing him in 2017, I was trying to find my own voice. So I launched a platform called moneymakingconversation.com. Here's the beauty of what's happening right now with the pandemic. For the first time, Black businesses are being acknowledged. They're being recognized. When in the past, in some ways, we were ashamed to say we were Black businesses. We were ashamed to acknowledge the fact that we were Black owners of Black business because we were afraid white people wouldn't accept it, wouldn't acknowledge, wouldn't purchase our products, or felt our products were inferior, or felt that we wouldn't deliver the warranty on our product. Because we were Black, we didn't accept the responsibility that we can deliver the same amount of credible service that white counterparts were doing. So what the pandemic has allowed us to do to be Black, not only to be Black, but to be Black businesses. And so I got to go even bigger. This is what Money. If anybody's not come to Money Making Conversation, please go to moneymakingconversation.com. You'll see over 300 interviews from celebrities. I will guarantee you that you do know, CEOs that you need to know, and small businesses that you need to understand. You need to understand that you have value. Now, Amazon, the world's biggest online service, is Amazon. They are what they're called a third-party seller. Now, Walmart, several years ago, was being saying they were traumatizing small businesses. Now, Amazon is saying they're traumatizing small business because what they're doing is they're taking third-party information and using that to create private labels for themselves, pushing your product down, raising their product to the top, and guess what? You're not winning. And if you're a small business, you can't even get on Amazon. So you stuck. So you're a Black business, you're stuck. So guess who came along and became an angel in all this? Beyonce. You see, Rashawn, what is Black Parade Directory? Black Parade really acknowledged that it was cool to be a Black business. Here's a woman with 150,000 Twitter followers, 60 million Twitter followers, 60 million Facebook followers, 140 million Instagram followers, a worldwide person saying it's cool to be Black. And guess what? As Black Pride, we was able to stand up. So what she's doing, like a third-party seller, she's not accepting the fee. She's creating a platform for us to be able to upload our vetted businesses on there and be responsible. But what is happening is this: as a small business, this is what online is killing us. We as Black people, we get product where we might have like 10 items or 20 items. In the online world, that cannot work because an idiot like me, I might log on, see your soaps and order 10 of them. So you sold out. And so what the online industry has done to Black businesses online is forced them to understand they got to have invest in themselves and they have to have inventory. That is what you get from me when you listen to my moneymakingconversation.com. You're getting the truth. You're getting the truth that you cannot blame other people. I was getting my vitamins from Black people, and now I can't get them from Black people no more. You know why? Because they can't sell it to me because they're telling me they waiting on the ship from China to land so they can get their ingredients so they can make my Black vitamins again. So guess what? I got to go back to the white people to get my vitamins again because I'm worried about my health. I need my vitamins. I need my Centrum right now so I can be healthy. So I'm just telling anybody on this call, before you sit up and be negative about what you cannot do, you have to look in the mirror of what you should do. And that's what I do with moneymakingconversation.com. I get talented people, whether they're talking about movies, but eventually we're going to talk about you and what you're doing to be successful, why you need to be successful, how you can be successful. And that is the goal. The ultimate goal of this whole journey is that you can win being yourself. And how you win being yourself is being in a position that you need to have information. So when I look at a person like Beyonce, who creates a platform, who makes Black being cool, makes Black being relevant, we as Black people have to acknowledge that we are successful. We have to acknowledge that we can deliver the same amount of product. And it's not about being Black owned, it's about being Black, period. And you can go to the Houston Chronicle, you can go to Atlanta, you go to New York, and you can see all these businesses, not just through Beyonce, but local news stories are being written about Black owners. And it's not about you being Black. It's about you being able to produce and also having a product there when somebody purchases it. The online world will never be an equal space for us until we realize we have to have product available. When somebody press enter to buy your product, they have to buy it more than one time. And that is what is damaging us and making us not be competitive.
Tatia Anderson is saying, Mr. McDonald is speaking so much truth. I wanted to share that comment with you. So I want you all to know I am reading these comments. So if you have a question, please send it in. No, I think that's all exactly, the framework of what's happening. I know the work that we're doing.
Yes.
US Black Chambers is centered on that too. We have a byblack.us, yes, which is a directory we're having people enter in. That will at some point become a certification portal. We will certify Black businesses. So all of the things that you're talking about, we are also seeing our sponsors, and actually right after our conversation, I'm going to be talking about a program that Amex is doing. Amex is doing this, Amazon is doing this, Facebook is doing this, where Google is doing this, where they're all now in a place of wanting Black businesses to identify as Black business, right? Yes. And as you said in the past, that wasn't always beneficial to us to do. My hope is that it continues, right? That this is not a trend or a phase, that when we do this, that we do it in such numbers that it has an amazing impact. To your point, we also have to be prepared and ready. And that's why we have conversations like this.
Yes. Yes, the opportunities for anybody on the call, I've been fortunate. I've been successful since I was 18 in living my dreams and accomplishing things that people thought were uniquely special, because I believe in hard work. That's one of my values. I believe in, when people say, I hear that a lot. What does hard work mean? Hard work means there's 24 hours in the day. Learn to take advantage of each hour. So if you get up at 3 o'clock in the morning, when you get up with a sense of purpose. And I always tell people, always plan a reason to get up. See, a lot of people struggle with getting out of bed because they don't have a reason to get up. They've not figured that out. They've not understood the value. So when that alarm clock goes off, they don't really know why they're getting up. So when I go to bed, I know why I'm waking up. I wake up every day at 4 o'clock, except on Saturday and Sundays. 4 a.m. I wake up. And it allows me to plan my day and schedule my success pattern. So I've used the word hard work, which is traditional. I've told you to use 24 hours in a day. You used to take advantage of every hour in that clock. I've told you need to get up a set time every day. 4 o'clock can't be 6 o'clock on Tuesday and 7 o'clock on Wednesday or 5 o'clock on Thursday and back to 4 o'clock on Friday. It has to be 4 o'clock every day. That consistency is the only way you can win. And finally, if you want to say how I win, people believe in me, which means I value relationships. Some people might call me a mentor to people. Some people might call me a savior. All I know is that I cannot win, Ms. Joseph, unless people believe in me. I cannot win unless I have relationships that believe in me. I cannot win unless I understand the value of networking, because you cannot be successful at any level unless you have partnership.
Well, you are speaking truth to power today, my friend. And I so appreciate you on this call. Everything that you have brought up are all the things that we fight for at the US Black Chambers every day, all the things that we see that are making a difference. And what's always helpful to us is to have someone like you,
thank you,
able to confirm that, right? Because sometimes, when you're doing things and helping people, there's a sense of, why do we have to do it like this? Well, there's really a reason. Do that, and it's because of relationships, and it's because of change in the environment of how we have to do business, that we have to really rethink everything we've done in the past and what we need to do in the future.
I know I'm going to close. I really have to go, but I just want to say this to everybody on the call. In 1992, I was there when Rodney King when the riots broke out in Los Angeles. I actually lived in Los Angeles at the time, and there was a pride about Black owned, and they usually just put the sign of Black owned so nobody would tear down their business or impact their business in a negative manner. Now we have to look into 2020. The word Black owned has to be a sense of pride and relevancy, but I'm just letting you know there's a certain value and a certain expectation comes with running a business, whether it's Black or white owned. When somebody comes in your door, press send, or presses enter, you have to be able to provide that product or that sense of service that we expect. I don't care if you're black, white, or person of color. You have to do that. Until we make that decision to do that on a regular basis, we will always have a flawed model of success.
Well, we're going to end with that. I want to thank you again, Rashawn, for joining us. We definitely will have you back.
I appreciate it.
I'll have a whole new, you know me, I'll have a whole new topic for you.
I don't know if I talked about pivoting enough. I don't know if I talked about pivoting enough, but I know that.
We did.
Okay,
we did. Everything that you talked about is about that shift.
Okay,
right?
cool.
It really is about that. And at the end of the day, access to capital is really critical to us. Being able to have people buy our products and services in bulk is critical to us.
Okay.
And technology is critical to us. And those are all pivoting exercises as part of what we have to do. So I want to thank you for joining. We will show, we have a slide for Rashawn for you to be able to reach him. Don't go away. We still have a few more things that we're going to discuss today, particularly the American Express Small Business Grant. So I want to make sure that you're all aware of this new opportunity that's coming up. But if you want to just raise your clapping hand in Zoom, just do that. Thank you, Rashawn, so much. And we'll talk soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. So everyone, this is Rashawn's information, moneymakingconversations.com. So you can always go there, find information that you need. You can also be reached on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Rashawn McDonald. And so with that, I want to move to the next part of our conversation today, which is around American Express. We've been able to partner with them on a couple of new things. One is there are merchant kits, so you don't necessarily have to be an American Express cardholder, but you can get a free complimentary kit that lets people know to shop with you, shop small. The information is there in terms of the link. After the call, I'll send it out separately to all of you who have registered. And certainly you can come back and get the information online as well through our on-demand video. So you can, I want to move my screen in case you haven't had an opportunity to see it. So please visit this link. These kits are available while supplies last. And I think they'll be really, really helpful for your business. Next slide, I really want to talk about a small business grant program that American Express has made available to Black-owned businesses. The program is going to start in a couple of weeks. I wanted to share it today because I want to make sure, number one, that you're prepped. Also, we're going to have some small, I'm probably going to do some on-demand webinars that you can kind of come in and help you be able to pull all the information together that you're going to need. And we'll be doing those over the next couple of weeks. So stay tuned for that. The purpose of this small business grant program is that it is for minority business enterprise, but specifically this is for Black-owned businesses with us. At least 51% of company ownership held by African Americans who are actively engaged in the operation of the firm. So that's one of the major key components of this. I've listed some of the other requirements. They are requiring that there be at minimum three people that are employed either full or part-time. You have at least one physical or an online business location located within the United States as well as US territories. Only one grant will be able to be received. So you can only submit for one business. It doesn't matter if you own 5, you can only submit for one of them. It will require that you provide your EIN number and your legal structure, so whether you're a sole proprietor, partnership, corp, sub-S, LLC, and the like. And the part of the purpose of grants is also to help businesses who have been key in their communities, particularly in the areas either they're hiring, either providing the kind of service that's important, renovating in the neighborhoods, just a way of being able to make sure that we are serving our communities well. And so that'll be another requirement that they'll look at. Next slide, please. So there are businesses that are not eligible. I've not listed every single one here, but I have listed a few. When the link becomes available, and it will be available on our site, as I said, in the next week or so, please, again, come back frequently to visit usblackchambers.org/cares-act / so that you can take advantage and at least get prepared and have all of your paperwork together for this. So if you are a franchise, basically that has more than 25 corporate-owned stores, you're not eligible for this. Other categories include being a government agency, political organization, or nonprofit. This is for-profit business owners. Being engaged in any illegal activity, gas stations are not eligible. Property management companies are not eligible. Direct sellers, travel agencies, you can see the list. And again, more will be on the site. So I haven't listed every single business in here, but more will be on the site. I see a question from Deborah Hamilton. We'll do a couple of things. For all of you who've joined today, I will send out the link as soon as it's available. And also let you know that you can, revisit our site for more information. What will happen in the application process? It's going to be, as I said, a link, a URL link. You're going to be responsible for inputting your business information. You're welcome, Deborah. Inputting your business information. There is a narrative section that has about 5 questions. They focus on things like sources of funding. Have you gotten funding from other places? They're asking that question. What challenges has your business had? What type of a community engagement do you have as a business owner? And what are your plans in terms of, if you're open for business, what are your plans? And if you are reopening, what are your plans? There will be sort of a certification sort of checkbox that you're certifying that this is to be used for business use and not for anything else. You will need to complete a W-9 form. And if you have any MBE certification, you can upload that as well. Next slide. Also wanted to remind you of Thursday's Edge. So this is a Thursday's Edge workshop. We're doing these now every third week of the month. We were doing them monthly, but we have some other things that are coming on board. So we want to make space for all of the wonderful tools and resources that we'll be able to give to you moving forward. So you can see where you can register for any upcoming events. The first Thursday of the month, we offer a program where we partnered with Chase for Business. It's called Advancing Black Entrepreneurs. It is really focused on helping Black business owners recover and move forward. And so it's about an hour and a half in length. We have the opportunity to have conversation as part of it, but I would encourage you to be able to participate, in these monthly sessions. If you can't do September, October will be available. So just know this is available to you as well. Then finally, next slide, Kevin. As I mentioned, here's where you can always find the most up-to-date information and resources on the CARES Act and how you can best navigate COVID-19. This is the web link that I've mentioned a couple of times. And if you haven't joined, we want you to join our chambers. You don't have to join the USBC, our national organization, but we want you to join our local chambers. So if you're in a market, if you visit Join USBC, you should be able to find a chamber that's in your market across 145 that we have across the country. So with that, I want to just say thank you again for the opportunity to talk with you. Please know that if you want to revisit this webinar, you can. It'll be available later today on demand, as well as all of our videos that we that we've offered over, since April. So we'll continue to do this. We're going to continue to provide you with the kind of information that's important to help you move forward as a business owner. Thank you again for spending time with us. Please stay safe.